Hello, my human design friends and collective perspective members. Christelle Robinson-Tiedemann, aka Cree, coming to you live for HD Friday, a weekly segment inside of my collective perspective membership. This is my monthly membership community centered on the art of contemplation and human design experimentation. We practice bringing the unconscious into the conscious and learning through lived experience. Hello, happy Friday. How are you feeling? Please say hello as you come in. Every Friday on HD Friday, if this is your first time joining me, we cover a different topic. I do this every week. Different topic in the human design system. And today, we're covering something very exciting, the Sacral Center. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that I can hear myself. So let me check. Yay, we are live. And I think that it would be a wonderful companion to your experience tonight to pull up your chart. So take this time right now to grab your chart if you don't have it in front of you. If you don't know how to grab your chart, I actually put the link to my favorite human design generator inside of the, we're having word finding difficulties today. Somebody tell me what that is. The box, the description box. If you go to the description box, there's a link to mybodygraph.com. Just click on it. It's free. Just take yourself to the site. You need your exact time of birth. So in order to pull your chart, it uses two natal charts, your astrology chart, and that's pulled from your exact time of birth, your city, the location, and the date. So go ahead and take that time to pull up your chart, grab yourself a little something to drink. Cheers. Having a little bit of wine tonight. And pull up your chart and let me know who's here. I would love to know who's here. Let me know your type. Do we have generators or manifesting generators in the chat tonight, in the audience tonight? Why? Because this is going to be extra special for you. But the reason the Sacral Center is such an important center for us to talk about is because we are all conditioning each other. Okay? So whether you have your sacral defined or not defined, it's important to understand what the center is all about, and we're going to get into the details of that in just a moment. So let me know who's here. Let me know your type. And at the end of our lesson, I'm going to host a Q&A. So if you have questions, pop your questions into the chat. I might, if it fits, I'll answer the question while we're going through, or I'll just answer it at the end. Okay, so comment, questions, anything. Are we ready to do this? Yes? Let me take a little sip of water. All right, welcome. Our HD Friday. This week, we're covering the Sacral Center. Woo! All right. This is a really important center in the human design system. Some basics that we always want to cover when we start talking about the centers is just how that operates in general. When you pull up your chart, which I hope you have pulled up now, you're going to see this kind of human-shaped looking thing, right? And then there are different shapes inside of it. Those are the centers. Depending on whether the center is colored in or if it's white, that will tell you whether you're defined or not defined. If the center is colored in, it's defined. If it is colored in and defined, that center is your true energy. That is who you are. Why it's who you are is because it is consistently available. Whatever the energy is of that center, whatever the themes are of that center, it is consistently available to you. Therefore, that's how you move and operate in the world, in your consistency. That is you. Wherever it's open, wherever it's white, wherever it's not defined, that is where you're inconsistent. It's not really what we consider to be you, because you don't always have access to that. Whatever those themes are for that center, you don't always have access to that. But why do we say it's inconsistent rather than never accessible? And that is because we condition each other. When a center is open or undefined, we say it's inconsistent because when you are in the presence of a person with that center defined, you now absorb and amplify their energy. So I'm a projector. I do not have a defined sacral center. No projectors have a defined sacral center. No manifester has a defined sacral center. No reflector has a defined sacral center. You can only be a generator or a manifesting generator if you have a defined sacral. So I don't have a defined sacral, but my husband does. So I am pretty much most of the time being conditioned by sacral energy because I'm either at home with my husband or I'm out in the world and there's generators and manifesting generators everywhere because you guys make up 70% of the population. So this is why it's one of those centers where I'm like, you really, 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 really want to understand it because you're either defined or you're being conditioned by that most of the time. Okay. And if any of this is confusing, just pop your questions into the chat. So if you have the center defined, it's who you are. If you have it undefined, you absorb and amplify that energy when you are in front of a person who has it defined. Okay? So the sacral center. This is the life force energy of the world. This is the center. It's literally defining generators and manifesting generators because that's how that energy works. It is the energy of a generator. You know, my family on my mom's side is Antiguan. And I grew up going back and forth to Antigua all the time. And one of the things that they have is like inconsistencies with electricity often. Like it will just have like blackouts. My husband and I traveled to Colombia. There was the same thing that happens there. And so my uncle and my aunt in their home, they have a generator outside. And it kicks in whenever the electricity goes out so that we don't even, it's like seamless. We don't even notice it. And what does that generator sound like? It's like, it's this constant motor. The sacral center is a motor center because it provides this constant humming energy. The sacral center is all about sustainability because of its ability to just keep going and going and going. That's why sometimes people call generator types energizer bunnies. If you grew up in the 90s, you know about, or the 80s, you know about the energizer bunny commercials with the bunny that's just like clapping the drum. It's just going and going and going and going and going and going. This is generator energy. Okay. I'm going to give you a metaphor to kind of understand how this energy works. So the sacral center is kind of like a phone battery. And my human design teacher taught us this metaphor, and it's the best one that I've heard. And I have been in plenty of different human design circles. It's like a phone battery. So those with a defined sacral center, it's like you have that battery internally within you. And it works on kind of like an on or off. So basically, the sacral center, when it is in front of something that lights it up, goes immediately to boom, 98% energy. And it's just so much energy to sustain that thing that was a sacral yes. When the sacral is in front of something and it responds to it as a no, an the battery depletes to like 2%. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't make it now 98%. You can't make it more energy. When it is a no, you're not getting energy from it. And so the motor is not going. An undefined sacral, someone with an undefined sacral center like me, we don't have this battery inside of us. There's no being in front of something that you want and then it just turns on, or being in front of something that you want, that you don't like, or that you're not responding to, and it's off. We have to borrow the energy from other sacrals. We borrow the energy from defined sacrals, kind of like when you borrow someone's charger. It's the external charger that you plug in. But the interesting thing is that it's like we are a 6-watt bulb being plugged in, or socket, and plugging in 12 watts. So it's like it really, remember, undefined open centers, we absorb and amplify. So it's like a boom of energy running through wattage that is less than, so it really, really, really shines bright. But you need to be careful not to keep it plugged in too long, because you will burn out the socket. And so those with an undefined sacral center, we need to rest more. We need to be careful to watch our energy and understand when we are overdoing it. It's very hard for us to know when enough is enough, because we are absorbing and amplifying the energy of others. So it's very important to not burn out our sockets, because that's not actually our natural energy. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. So the undefined sacral, so those with an undefined sacral center, we do not have consistent access to energy. Often in the human design system, you'll hear those with an human design teachers refer to those types without a defined sacral. So the projectors, manifestors, and reflectors as non-energy types. That's what they mean. When you hear a non-energy type, it's a type without a defined sacral. Those with a defined sacral, you have access to potentially unlimited energy. But the key is that you can't force it or fake it. So that energy, that motor, is lit up in the same way that when I'm at my aunt's and uncle's house and the power goes out and the motor kicks in. It's like that. It kicks in or it's not. So when you are responding with an aha, with a yes towards things that the sacral is lit up by, energized by, excited to do, interested in doing, wanting to do, there's unlimited energy. And it can happily just exert all of its energy until it falls asleep. This is how the defined sacral goes. And when it's in the presence of something that it does not enjoy, it's not a yes, it's an to. There is literally nothing that you can do about it to make yourself have that sacral energy come. So this is really important to understand, because for all of my generators out there, my generators and my manifesting generators, the consistent thing that I hear from clients when I'm explaining to you what it means to be a generator type, what it means to be a manifesting generator, and that you have unlimited energy available to you, they're like, what do you mean? I'm tired all the time. I don't have unlimited energy. I feel tired all the time. I see this constantly. To be honest, the type that has the most sleep issues that I have seen, I'm just speaking from anecdotal experience, are generator types. And the reason why is not because generators and manifesting generators, the reason you're tired is not because you don't have energy. It's because you are consistently doing things that don't light up your sacral. So it's like trying to drag yourself through something. And that's why it feels like you don't have any energy. It's simply that the sacral's not lit up. So this is where it becomes so important for us to start to learn our strategy and authority. It becomes so important for us to understand how our energy works, because the truth is that energy is always available, but what's not in alignment is where that energy is being spent, where that energy is being placed. And so it's very important. One of the reasons that sacrally defined individuals have such a hard time sleeping is because they haven't actually let the battery do its thing. They haven't actually lit up that battery. It wants to run out. It wants to completely burn itself out. Like it wants to, whereas the undefined center needs to be careful of burning out because there's no repleting that. There's nowhere for that energy to come from once we burn ourselves out. For the generator, it's perfect. It wants to completely release its energy and then just fall into a good night's sleep. That is a healthy expression for a defined sacral. Another metaphor that is helpful to understand how this sacral energy works is a fire hose, like from a fire truck. So, when the fire truck comes to put out a fire, like that pressure, a pressure hose. If you've ever seen the way that the water comes out of a pressure hose, it's like with such force, right? This is how it comes. What happens when you kink a pressure hose? Like if you put a kink in it, it's not coming out. There's nothing that you're going to do about it that's going to make that forceful water come out. But the thing is, it's still force inside of the hose. The hose still has that tension inside of it, right? So it's like, oh, but if I'm not doing things that I love and I'm not activating my energy, why can't I fall asleep? Because the tension remains. The energy wants to be released. The energy needs to be released. So you're basically a kinked hose trying to be relaxed rather than a hose that is completely released. It's like completely released its energy and then just collapses happily into sleep. I hope this is making sense, okay? So I want to give you an even better sense of, I want to try something today. So I saw for the first time a share button screen on this, and I've never used it. Are you guys willing to try this out with me? Let's just try it, okay? I want to show you, because that would be really cool. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do it. You know why? Because I'm using my husband's computer and he doesn't give permissions for anything. So it doesn't have permission to record the screen. So we'll work on it and I'll try to do that another time. But I did tell you, pull up your screens, pull up your charts, right? So if you have your chart pulled up, I want you to look at the sacral center. Okay. This is a tip and trick that is very helpful for understanding any of the centers in the human design system. And that is to look at the themes of each of the gates inside of the center. And that will help you to really understand what it's all about. Okay. So I'm going to pull it up so that I could see all that. Okay. So this will help you to understand what the theme of the sacral center is about. We're going to look at each gate. Okay. So let's start at the top. So if you are at the top of that square on the left side, you're going to see gate 5. Okay. Gate 5, every theme of the sacral center is about energy. It's going to be something to do with energy. Each gate releases or constricts sacral energy for a specific reason. Okay. So top left. Gate 5. This is the gate of fixed patterns. So this is the energy to set and repeat patterns or rituals. Remember, the sacral center is about sustainability. Okay. So this is why our generators, our manifesting generators, are called our doers. They are called our builders. Think of building. You need to repeat a pattern. You need to sustain a pattern, ritual, tradition, sustainability. Okay. So next over, gate 14. I have gate 14 in my chart. It is undefined, so I have inconsistent access to that gate, but it might be, I think, one of my greatest gifts inside of my chart. And I don't know that I would be the human design teacher and coach and mentor and spiritual guide that I am if it wasn't for this gate. Gate 14 is the gate of power skills. What that actually looks like in practice is this unlimited energy that's poured into the skill that person has, the passion and skill. This person is fueled in a certain way towards that thing that they love to do. So this is why, like, I teach in a very passionate way. I speak in a very passionate way. This is my gate 14 in action. That's where that is coming from. So the gate of power skills, this is it releases energy to empower a certain direction. So for me, the direction is teaching human design, helping someone to understand their human design system. Coaching, I'm trying to help to direct my clients, right, towards what it is that they desire. And there's so much passion that comes through that. Let's keep going. Gate 29. So the top right side, gate 29. This is, I cannot even see my own writing. So this is the energy to commit to experience completely. So this is, oh my gosh, I can't even read what I'm saying. Gate 29 is all about commitment. Okay. So the energy to commit. We're going to go down. Gate 59. So this is the gate of sexuality. Now, when you think about sustainability, sustaining life, the Sacral Center governs the sexual organs. I didn't tell you that from the very beginning. The biological correlation of the Sacral Center are the ovaries and the testes. It's literally life force energy. Therefore, that's reproductive energy. So to be clear, this isn't like passion and romance. This is like getting down and dirty. Like, this is doing the deed kind of energy. It's the energy of like reproduction. It's not necessarily sexy. That's more when we get into the emotional center. But this is the energy of sexuality. And so gate 59 is the energy, sexual energy, the energy to bond. Okay. So the bonding is necessary. We know from the animal community, the animal kingdom, bonding is necessary in order for reproduction, and then also for the nurturing of the child. We'll go down to gate 9, and this is the gate of focus. So sustaining focus on something, the ability to sit and complete a task. I can't think of like a more obvious expression of sacral energy, right? So this is the energy for detail and concentrated energy to complete something or to continue sustaining something. We'll move to the left and the bottom. So we're going to go clockwise. So gate 3, this is the gate of ordering, and this is the energy to order mutation. Gate 42, over to the left, this is the gate of growth. This is one that I also have inside of me. And this is the energy to close a cycle and bring things to an end. What is so interesting is that my coworker and we complete a channel where she has the beginnings. She has the energy to begin things, and I have the energy of growth. I have the growth, so I end things. So together we start and complete things like freaking champs. And this is another example of how conditioning works so beautifully, how we're meant to, kind of collaborate and interact with those around us. This is called human design. It's about humanity as a whole. So we're not meant to all be defined in everything because we're each a different piece of the separate puzzles. So I just did gate 42. So keep going around to the left. Gate 27. This is the gate of caring, the energy to nourish and protect for survival. Think again of sustaining life, right? Nourishing, nurturing. This is how you keep babies alive. Even protecting, the the male animal often protecting the female one, sometimes the other way around, but like it's all that energy in order to sustain life, to continue life. This is generated energy. Next we have gate 34, and this is the gate of pure power. So gate 34 is the most powerful gate in the human design system. It is literally the gas pedal. It's like just pure, undiluted energy to put towards whatever it is that's being built, whatever needs to be built. So this is helping you to understand what this center is really all about. Okay? Again, pop in any questions into the chat. Let me know if it's resonating. So I just told you really about the energy of that center. What is the energy all about? And it is about sustained generated energy. That's what it's all about. Now, there are 3 different expressions of this center. Like I said, you can be defined. You can be undefined, like me. So that means, again, what? Yes, that is correct. Absorbing and amplifying the energy of those defined sacrals around you. You can also be completely open. What I mean by completely open, I want you to look at your human design chart and look at every center. Look at the open centers in your chart. And if you don't even have a gate colored in. So, for example, I have gate 14 colored in inside of my sacral center, but I don't have a defined sacral. I'm not defined in my sacral, but I do have a gate in there. So I'm considered undefined. Some people have not a single gate inside of their center. I have, for example, my ego center, not a single gate. My ajna, not a single, I pointed at my throat. My ajna is the mind. Not a single gate. So that is a completely open center. And that shows up a little bit differently than the undefined. It has the same elements of the undefined, but it's more extreme. It operates a little bit more in terms of extremes, and there's a bit of confusion around it because the energy feels so foreign. Why does the energy feel so foreign to the person with the completely open? It's because wherever you have a gate defined, it acts as a filter. So, for example, with my sacral center that is undefined, I love doing work around my husband. Why do I love doing work around my husband? I have gate 14, the gate of power skills, in my chart. When I'm around my husband, I now have a defined sacral and access my filter of that energy that I'm now absorbing from my husband is filtered through gate 14. And therefore, the energy is going into my power skills. That's very freaking convenient for me. What I need to work on is knowing when enough is enough. And because then I got, burnt out, overtired. But there's a consistency even in my inconsistency, if that makes sense. When you have a center completely open, you are completely mimicking the defined center in front of you. There's no consistency. There's no consistent filter of what that energy is like. So it can feel totally different, totally unpredictable, and confusing. And it's a lot more challenging for them to understand what that energy feels like, what to do with it. Did you guys see that? I think that there was just like a little explosion in the sky. Whoa, that was really weird. Okay, we'll continue. So again, defined, undefined, completely open, and they all present a little bit differently. All right, we're getting this? Okay. So defined, 70% of the population. I told you, manifesting generators, 70% of the population. Okay. You live in moment to moment truth. with your defined sacral. Why? Because the sacral is or that's it. It's always responding to the things in front of it. Do I want to give my energy here? Is it cut off? Is the power hose open or is it kinked? Is the power hose open or is it kinked? It's a moment to moment thing with that powerful energy. Okay. It's yes, no. It's on or it's off. All right. The distortion or the denial that a defined sacral experiences is pushing their energy even when either the battery is dead, like you've exhausted, like you've let all the water out of the power hose, or it's kinked, it's an and there's still a push. This is the ultimate work for my generators and my manifesting generators. And we don't live in a world that's very forgiving about you getting to choose what you want to do. All generators and manifesting generators have the wounding of not really feeling in control of what they get to do in their life. That is one of the greatest wounds for generator types, because we don't live in a society where it's like you don't have the right to choose that, but you do. You must, in order to be in alignment. And this is where your human design experiment becomes, this is where the work happens. Like, this is what your experimentation is for. How do I learn to listen to that sacral energy? Timing. How do I communicate when I don't want to do something? How do I find a way to find an aspect of things that does light me up and do those things? Like, there are so many ways that your experimentation, that's your work, to go through life, listening to your response and seeing an understanding when I don't have the energy to do something and when I do have the energy to do something, when I'm getting an when I'm getting an okay. So the core denial here for my defined sacral centers is I don't have energy. Like I said, so many of the generators and manifesting generators that I've worked with are like, but I don't have unlimited energy. Yeah, you do. You're just doing things that don't light you up. Okay. And you really do need to burn that energy out to really allow your body to have the full release that it craves, that it wants, that it needs to. For a healthy sacral, it's like on, done, on, right into bed, on, right into bed. This is how the energy of the healthy sacral works. So that could mean so many different things depending on the person. For some of you, you need to move your body more. It can be literally that simple. One of my human design teachers says that for all my generators and manifesting generators, your hands are another set of eyes. This is what he says, because you need to touch things. You need to engage in things. You really need to be tactile. You really need to be in the doing of things. But I want to be clear that this doing energy, it's not just physical. There is a lot of sustaining energy in terms of ideas, in terms of, like, think of academics, think of our scientists, think of, they could be in a lab work. If anyone's ever done lab work, it's very freaking boring, in my opinion. But you should see some of these scientists, like the way that my husband can sit at a computer. I don't have it. Like, I don't have it. I see his sacral be lit up in ways. He's not necessarily moving his body. He can sustain his energy into tasks that he loves. He loves to make music. He can sit at that computer and make music, and he's just there like this. But the music's moving through him, And then even doing research, he loves to do research. This is a person who has a PhD. Like, there was sustained generated energy in a non-physical activity, but he also needs to move his body. He also is a person who's just naturally very good at sports. He's a line 2. He's the natural. He's very good at sports. He needs to move his body. He loves to go for walks. You have to listen to what your sacral needs and let it release that energy. Okay? So those are my defines. My undefines. You have inconsistent energy. So manifestors, projectors, reflectors, we have inconsistent energy because we don't have defined sacrals. If you have a little, a gate defined in your chart inside of your sacral center. You're undefined in that center. When you are lit up by another sacral in your presence, there is a consistent filter that comes through. That's what makes you undefined rather than completely open. So inconsistent energy. All right. We need more rest. It's just what it is. We need more rest, and we need to start respecting our limits. And here's the thing. What our issue is that we have the conditioning that I need to do more. We're surrounded by sacrals. They're just like going about doing all these things nonstop. And it's like, I'm supposed to be like that. You're not. You're not supposed to be like that. And actually, it's not more effective. So part of your experimentation is starting to notice when you don't have energy, when you are at that point of burnout and you keep doing, you're not very effective. If you're being honest, you're not very effective. It took me university. It took me my master's. Like all of my undergrad, I pushed through. My best friend used to tell me all the time, just go to bed, stop cramming all night long. It's not working. It's not even helping you. We didn't know anything about human design at this point. She just was smart enough. This is where our non-energy types can learn from our energy types. Don't do it. Wake up early and just do it in the morning. Whatever it is that you're doing now, that's going to take you 3 hours. It's going to take you 20 minutes in the morning. And boy, was she right. And it took me forever. There's my conditioning. There's my, no, I'm supposed to be able to do it. No, I'm not. I'm supposed to also listen to my energy. So when I don't have the energy, this is a time for rest. And when I do have the energy, I'm extremely efficient. Okay. So we need to, when it comes to sleep, we need to lay down and release the sacral energy that we have absorbed before we can sleep well. So, like I was saying before, my husband, the generators in my life. So I live with my husband, so I see him. He will go, and he needs to keep going and going and going and going until he's done. And then it's bedtime. For me, and super work for me, like I'm still in my experimentation too, where one of my challenges, especially because I have the gate of power skills and I am consistently around this, and my husband has like, whoa, so much. He's got a lot of motors in he's very defined motors. Okay. He has 3 out of the 4 motors in the chart defined. So I have all this absorbed energy in my body and I'm like, yeah, I can keep going. I can keep going. I can keep going. And then I freaking burn out and I pay for it. Sometimes I pay for it for multiple days. Like I will have to recover for days because I went too far. For me, the best way for me to operate for my body is to know before I'm exhausted, before I actually feel physically tired, it's time to lie down. And I'm getting better at it. Like I do know where my limits are. I'm starting to learn it, but I can't say that I just knew automatically. You really have to experiment with your design. You really have to feel into your body. You really have to fuck it up a few times, a lot of times, and then learn from that experience. Basically, I have burnt myself out enough times that I now know how it goes. I'm not saying I always do it, but I now know how it goes. And I will take myself to bed and I will just lie down. And the sweet spot for me is to literally be in bed about an hour before the actual time I want to go to sleep. It feels incredible. Like it's, my husband laughs all the time, but like I literally get into bed and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Like it feels just lying down. My non-energy types, my undefineds, sacrals, just that feeling when you lie down and it's so freaking good. Like that lets you know, like, yeah, it's time to lie down, and then we let that energy seep out of our body. So ideally the ideal situation is you're not around any defined sacrals at that time. I know it's impossible, but lie down, let the energy come out of your body, and then we go to sleep. That is the difference between how a defined and undefined sacral needs their rest and needs to have a proper sleep. It was interesting because last weekend, my best friend flew in to visit, and the three of us had this really fun weekend together. And there was one night where we went to a restaurant, then we went to a bar, then we went to another bar. And I actually said, and I'm very proud of myself, I didn't listen, but I actually said when we were out, when we got to the last bar that we were going, because we were hungry and we were like, actually, we should eat. We ended up spending the whole day from lunch into dinner. When we went to the last place and we sat down, I was like, oh, I've gone too far. I should have actually, for me, for my energy, my night ended at the last spot that we were at. That was the time where I actually needed to go home. I stayed, I had a good time, I rallied, but I think I might have slept until like 11 a.m. the next day, you know? So I can feel it now. When you've hit that part where the exhaustion hit you, where the tired really, really hits you in your body, and you have an undefined sacral, you've gone too far. You've gone too far. And what tends to happen is if we go to bed like that, we wake up like that. It sounds weird, but when a defined sacral goes to bed like they wiped out, like they passed out, they wake up like the generator's just like, yeah, let's go when they wake up. When we go to bed exhausted like that, burnt out like that, we wake up like that. Because it's not a matter of our sacral energy ran out. It's a matter of we went too freaking far and now we need to recover. Okay? Pop in any questions or comments as you're hearing this. Now, the completely open sacral. Everything that I just said for the undefined also goes for the completely open, but there's some added stuff. They have a really hard time knowing when enough is enough because there really isn't much sense of it. There's no filters. So the completely open sacral really does tend to burn out a lot more, tend to hit that completely exhausted point a lot more. So the key for you, if you have a completely open sacral, you really need to start paying attention to, you're going to learn through reverse. Like you're going to learn by all of the times that I have felt it, I've paid for it, that I've exhausted myself. Okay, what was the pattern? All right, let me understand when that's happening. Like if I'm feeling like, go, I've been doing something for a certain amount of time, it's time for me to stop. You can also test it. That's something that you can do. Test it. Go lie down and see remember when I said I lie down and I'm like, oh yeah, that is my like, oh yeah, it's time to lie down feeling. Just take a break from what you're doing. Go sit, go lie down, see how your body feels. If it's like, yes, this is what I've been asking you for the past 30 minutes and you haven't been listening to me, then you're like, okay, I'm going to stop now. But if it feels like, no, I'm good actually, you keep going. So you gotta play with it, but it is genuinely more difficult having that sense of when enough is enough, even though all undefined struggle with knowing when enough is enough. So it's really important to learn when you're overwhelmed with an activity. This is important for you with the completely open. You have to learn when and it's too much, because when I said that the completely open sacral also operates kind of these in extremes, if you remember the metaphor, the analogy from the beginning where I said you're a 6-watt outlet with 12 watts plugged in, that completely open sacral is going to burn the hardest and the fastest and the brightest. So you want to learn when you find yourself like overwhelmed by an activity, it's too much energy. You're not actually meant to hold that, right? Like that's not actually your natural way. And so start to pay attention. Again, this is all coming down to your human design experimentation. You're going to experiment with it. This is not about not making mistakes. This is not about not getting it right. That is not the point. You're going to learn through lived experience. You're going to learn through experience. And listen, we're not meant to mess it up. Like last weekend when my best friend was here, and we had the best night ever. Yeah, I was tired and I paid for it, but I also made amazing memories. So like, all right, it's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? So like it's more important to have the awareness so that you understand, so that you don't make yourself sick, so that you're not a generator walking around thinking like, why am I always tired? It's helpful to know, yes, there may be an aspect of your life where you're really struggling in this job that you don't like. And there's going to be an interim period between transitioning yourself into something that you do like, working up the guts to change that, working up the courage to do something different. Like, this isn't just an example, but while you're doing that, it's not about like, I'm wrong and I'm bad, but it's so important to understand that this is a matter of my sacral isn't lit up, not a matter of my life is shit and there's no, one will lead to depression. One leads to an understanding that I need to make changes. Okay. So it's not about like just, doing all of this perfectly. It's like respecting and understanding your energy so that you can then optimize how you want to express it. So conditioning for the undefined sacral center, we try to keep up with the sacral and we feel guilty for resting. We definitely suffer more from burnout, and we need to learn to stop before we're tired. The conditioned message from the undefined sacral center is I should be able to do more, and it's not true. You are able to do exactly enough that you are meant to do. We just do it in a different way. And you want to, again, start to notice how you're less effective when you're doing things when you're tired, and you're more effective when you're doing things that you have the energy for. So this is the sacral center. Let me grab a sip of my wine and see if I can think of anything that I missed. Do you guys have any questions whatsoever about anything that you've heard? Anything about your own sacral energy and how it's expressed? What do you think? So my defined sacrals, you can kind of get an understanding of why you are considered the builders and the doers when you hear how this energy works, right? Your purpose is to actually take that consistency of energy that you have in your body. There's a reason there's 70% of you. You're meant to sustain the energy of our existence, of our being, of this world, of the society that we built, all of it. It's the continuation of everything that a manifestor initiated, of everything that a projector guides towards, of everything that the reflector is reflecting the rightness and wrongness of. Like, it all really, it's centered on this beautiful energy. And one of the spirituality is the core of everything that I do. And so I love how human design validates a lot of my spiritual beliefs. But if you think about the energy of the world and how beautiful it is to know that you have this consistent generated energy, you understand that it's not selfish. It's not the giving your sacral the release towards the things that you were meant to do, the things that light it up, the things that you love. It's for the world. It's sustaining everything, So there's if you ever find yourself feeling really guilty, about doing things or not doing things that you think you're supposed to do, my generators and my manifesting generators, not doing things that you think you're supposed to do, and you're feeling guilty about it, remember how important it is that this sacral energy lights up the world. So it's a gift to everyone to have that hose turned on. And for my non-sacral energy, it's important for us to understand that, like, we are defined in a way where Our energy is meant to collaborate. Whatever it is that we're contributing, the generators can sustain. So we work together. It's this beautiful balance of who has what and who doesn't have what. So the best way that I can help for my sacrals to understand how to be in alignment, I'm always going to come back to telling you about, you have to experiment with your strategy and authority. It's not as simple as like me saying there's like one thing for you to do. But I can say things like, for example, when it comes to sleep, you want to burn your energy out. If you find yourself consistently being tired, instead of thinking, oh, I'm so tired, I need to rest, for my defined sacrals, I'm tired and I need to rest, it's more a matter of I need to do something that lights me up. You'll know the difference. How will you know the difference? Because one is you're passing out and the other is you feel listless. Do you understand the difference between that? Like, you're falling asleep. That's beautiful. Like, go to sleep, versus I don't have any energy. I'm dragging my feet. I need another coffee. I need that energy. You actually need to do, not do. This is a matter of the hose is kinked. So it's very different for defined sacrals. Give your sacral something to respond to. So that's a major aspect of your alignment. You figuring out, part of your experimentation of you figuring out how to have a healthy sacral, you have to figure out what it responds to. If you're not giving it anything to respond to, you're not going to learn it. So if I have any recommendations off the bat, go figure out what lights you up. Try a new sport. Go for a walk. Call a friend. You know what is a good practice for feeling the or of the sacral is, and this is, I'm expecting you that everyone is watching here. I want you to be a mature and responsible individual. Okay. So for those of you who scroll too much and it's one of those things that you just do like, and you numb out, this is not a recommendation for you. But scrolling through social media can be a little test to see your attachment to your sacral, to feel what the feels like and the feels like, to feel that response. Scroll through things and feel what your body does, feel what your body moves towards, moves against, that kind of thing. That's lighting up your sacral. Find activities, find things that you love to do. Draw, paint, sing. There's so endless. There's endless things that you can engage in. But find what it is that lights you up and then realize that you need to fill your day. Sorry, I feel a tickle in my throat. Give me 1 second. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I'm going to check. I just want to check and see if you guys can hear me. There's a delay, so I don't know. Okay, so find activities that you like to do that light you up. This is my assignment to you. Okay, that is the healthiest way for your sacral to be functioning. And when it comes to, there are things that we have to do in our life. I have to wash the dishes. I have to do the laundry. You're a parent. You need to do things for the kids. You can't not do the kids' lunch, One of the things that I have my clients do is, can you play with the timing a little bit, right? And your communication. So if it's something that you know that you need to do, there is also, yes, sometimes we do need to suck it up, okay? That is just freaking life. This is not about perfection. But if your entire life is suck it up, you're going to feel very, very listless. So can you couple things that you don't really feel energized doing with things that do energize you? So whether that's listening to music, whether that's I don't like to clean, but when I clean it's dance time. Can you put a video on that you really, really like for a certain, or put in an audiobook or a podcast that you really like while you do those tasks, and you can feel your sacral light up about that, even though it doesn't really feel like it has so much energy for those things? Can you make those tasks, can you find a way to do it in smaller portions? Like, get creative about the things that are mundane in your life. If it's your job, this is a whole other situation. But you want to, for example, delegate more tasks that are the tasks that you really feel like your sacral is like a freaking to. And I apologize, there's always motorcycles every Friday night in my neighborhood racing. Delegate the tasks that you don't like. The tasks that you do like, try to, incorporate more of those and put your energy into those as much as possible. Can you work on your boundaries? A really, really big part is like limiting the amount of time so that you're prioritizing. Can you prioritize as the things that you love in your day as well as your job? For example, are you a person who on your lunch break, it might be a great idea for you to go to the gym because that's really exciting for you and nice. So maybe it might cost you a little bit more money to pay for a gym membership close to work, but that excites you, that gives you energy. And so you prioritize it and put it in the day. Prioritize, certain activities. You go biking on Saturday. I'm just thinking of, it's going to be very different, very personal. But can you organize and prioritize the things that light you up as much as the things that you have to do? And also, do you need to pay someone to clean the house instead of torturing yourself or having it be a fight? You know what I mean? Between you and your partner, like, be willing, pay for it. It's your sanity and your energy and your happiness is far more important. So can you budget to allow certain tasks that you don't like to do and take them off of your plate? When it comes to like you really are doing a job that you hate, I'm never going to tell anybody just quit. There is a transition period. But maybe this is the time to do the inner work and ask yourself, like, why? Why do I torture myself in this way? Is it literally impossible for me to have an income in a job that I do enjoy? And how can I realistically and strategically find my way to transition out and change those things? This is your overall work. It's not, nothing here is about quick fixes, Nothing here is about quick fixes. And of course, this is what I do. So if you want to work one-on-one, book a session. You can even, if you have an understanding of your design and you really just want to dive into, for example, an aspect like this is a perfect thing to book a one-on-one session for. I coach for non-human design related things as well, but that's a beautiful thing that we can dive into in a one-on-one coaching session. And it's also an aspect that I put into my reading. So if you wanted to get a human design reading to better understand, like maybe you don't even know if you have a defined sacral or not, but a lot of what I'm saying resonates, then you can book a reading, and all that information is inside of the description box. So yeah, your experimentation, it's your work. And it's not really about it being easy, and it's not about, what can I do and switch things like this. Get curious. If that's another suggestion that I have, it's get curious. Get curious with yourself. Start observing yourself. Start reflecting. Start seeing, where have I made certain decisions? What beliefs do I have about my lifestyle that just tells me that I can't change things or do things in a certain way? That might be holding me back from allowing my sacral to really release its energy in different ways. Get creative. Okay. And for my undefined sacrals, it really is about us learning when enough is enough. When is enough enough? When have you hit your limit? When is it our time to stop, pause, rest, and build a really beautiful relationship with rest? Take naps. That's part of your experimentation too. And that, of course, is another beautiful thing that we can dive into in a one-on-one coaching session. And again, all of that is available inside of the description box. I have 2 different types of human design readings that I offer. One is called the experimenter, and that is for the individual who really wants to learn how to walk in alignment with their human design body graph. And so it's actually 3 sessions, and we're going to build in each session on top of itself. We start with your type, we start with your strategy, we start with your authority, which is the trifecta, the things that you really need to understand to start like walking in alignment. We focus on that, and then we build and we build. And you can really feel like you're like launched into your human design experimentation when you were done with that reading. So that is my favorite kind of reading to do, the experimenter. And then I have a reading called the teacher. And so this is for coaches and for mentors who want to utilize human design, who want to add human design into their coaching toolbox. You want to be able to actually contribute to your client's alignment by understanding how their energy works. You want to understand how you're conditioning your client and how your client is conditioning you. You want to not be giving them undefined sacral advice when they're a defined sacral versus the other way around. We want to know that because the answer would be really different. If someone's having sleeping issues, and how amazing is it to understand that if you have a defined sacral and you're having trouble sleeping, that's going to be a completely different way that you go about addressing that sleep issue than a person who has, I don't know which one I said, but whatever the opposite is, an undefined sacral, right? So this is for the coach and the mentor who wants to be able to contribute to honoring the unique design and energy of their clients. And so that reading is jam-packed full of information. It's 1 session, but it's 2.5 hours long and jam-packed with information. And you also have the opportunity to do add-ons where if you have a client's chart that you'd like me to consult with you, we can do an add-on to the session for an additional very affordable price. So it's an awesome reading for those who want to be able to use human design as a tool and a guide. And all that information is inside of the description box. If you catch this on the replay and you have questions or you have comments, please put them into the chat. I monitor it. I will come back and I will answer those questions another time. I can respond right there into the chat those questions. And another really amazing way that you can dive in to having any of your questions personally answered is inside of my Collective Perspective, which is my monthly membership. And this HD Friday actually comes from my Collective Perspective. It's something that I've been doing inside of that membership since it opened. And then I decided that I'm going to make it a live opportunity and make it available to everyone for, I don't know how long we're going to plan on doing this. But this is something that happens inside of my membership every week. I share a lot of human design teachings, and then you have unlimited Q&A inside of it. You can ask all of the human design questions that you want, unlimited, inside of the membership, and I will come in and answer it, and we can dive into your one-on-one stuff. We can get really, really intimate. And the Collective Perspective membership is currently only $44 a month. So if you think about that and wanting to have a lot more closer proximity and intimacy, it's kind of a no-brainer, in terms of its affordableness. So you also have a discount on readings. So if you wanted to jump into the Collective Perspective membership to be able to not only have the resource of all of the other members, but to be able to have closer proximity to me, to have your questions answered, to be able to have a back and forth, but you also want a full human design reading, all Collective Perspective members get an automatic 22% off. So again, and the membership, come and go as you please. Like there's no commitment. So you can come for 1 month and leave. You can come back, you can go. whatever it is. But for however long you stay in the membership, you keep your price. So it won't go up. Even if the membership raises, let's say to $77 per month, you still will be only $44 a month if that's what you came into the membership with. If you want any more details, you have any questions, you can go to my Instagram at Coaching with Cree. You can DM me. You can check out my link tree. There's plenty of ways for you to have your questions answered and get a hold of me. But it's a really nourishing and beautiful space. And there's so many other things that we do other than human design. We jump into the gene keys. We practice contemplation. That is actually our main tool, is learning the art of contemplation. And then I also teach parts work. I teach you, this is all the stuff so that we can walk in alignment. But then there's the unconscious aspect of ourselves. There's our emotions. There's our inner child. There are all these soft parts of us that need our attention. And half of the time, like even when I'm talking about our defined sacral, and you're struggling with how much of your life you've been doing things that you don't want to do, sometimes the biggest change, it's not just from this conscious level and I give you this human design information and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to go do the things that light my sacral up. A lot of times there's beliefs under there. There's beliefs that I can't. There's a part of you that is activated, afraid, and like that's what needs addressing, because how we move, how we operate in life, our behavior is a direct response to our unconscious self. It doesn't matter how much is in your conscious mind. It doesn't matter. We actually respond to our unconscious mind. So until we get to those parts that are scared, conditioned, and we really can get to the core of it, see them, recognize them, a lot of things don't change. So a big part of what we do inside of the collective perspective is also learn parts work. Internal family systems is a huge aspect of my coaching and therapy. The therapy that I'm an occupational therapist in psychiatry for the last 13 years, so a long time. But we get to the unconscious self to make those shifts so that on the conscious level, we just experiment. We get curious, we get brave, and we can just try new things out because we're holding the inner child. We're holding the parts of us that feel stuck and feel scared. Any questions, again, DM me at Coaching with Cree on Instagram. Thank you for hanging out with me on your Friday. Cheers. I don't know what it is that you're drinking, but cheers to you. Thank you, guys. This has been awesome. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay cool. If you're in my part of the world, boy, is it humid. I love you, and I'll see you where I see you. Ciao.